With us to talk about the year's top stories, we have four top-notch journalists whom we polled to help determine this list. Our line panel tonight includes Patrick Malone, the reporter with the Santa Fe New Mexican. Rachel Sams is back. She's editor of the Albuquerque Business First newspaper. Gwyneth Dolan, a correspondent here on New Mexico in Focus and a journalism instructor at the University of New Mexico. And we're also joined by reporter Russell Contreras from the AP. The number 10 story on our list actually started long before 2014. It's the jet fuel spill at Kirtland Air Force Base. Albuquerque residents and local officials continue to express concerns about that jet fuel spill leaking to the water supply. Many are demanding that the Air Force take additional steps to measure the spill and clean it up. So Gwyneth, a concern for the entire city, just abutters? Who should be most concerned here?
Well, because I think the danger is that this water could come into the municipal drinking supply. It is a concern for the whole city. They do say that they can shut off the wells there, but they're important to us. They're the most productive wells. And so they are a big deal. I think the neighbors there are the most concerned. They're worried about their property values. They're worried about their own water. But I think the whole city should be concerned, especially with a threat that is so large and nebulous. And we have a really hard time figuring out how it's moving, where it's moving, and how quickly.
Right, and Russell, yeah, the word from the Air Force and others, it's been difficult to get the word about what's going to be proper here. How many wells, where it's located, you know, what's going on.
Right.
And you guys, collectively, the press has been really trying to work at this for quite a while now. Where are we with the Air Force now and satisfaction for residents here?
Well, you know, in general, this comes to the whole thing that's happened with the Obama administrations. They're very slow in being transparent. I mean, I think all our journalism organizations have called the administration out on this. And this is just one example of that. And when you hold information or you give partial, even if you dump everything out, there's always an effort, there's always a part that's released that stays suspicious. Are you telling us everything? How much and how long? When will this totally be clean? So those questions are going to linger until we know everything. I mean, we have to know everything. It's out there. Tell us the hard truth. Is this going to affect property values? And especially if we stay in drought. If we stay in drought, this anxiety about water is going to stay.
Sure. Patrick Malone, good to see you, by the way. Welcome to the table.
Thanks
First time here.
It's great to be here.
Took a whole year to get you here, but you know, it happens. As far as economic development and how the image of the city works when you have something like this, it's easy for us to understand where Ridgecrest is and understand where certain other areas are, but if you're outside the metro, all you hear is Albuquerque has a problem of some sort. Talk to that a little bit. It's a difficulty, isn't it?
Right, especially when it's something that is so ill-defined. I mean, nebulous was the right term, because the Air Force comes back just this year and says, oh, wait, we need a do-over. We need to reassess this. We maybe don't have the handle on it that we thought we did. And I think Russell spoke to the point that a lot of times they're going to put their best foot forward and tell us what they can in dribbles and trickles. And here they flat out backed off and said, we maybe don't have a handle on this. We need to go back, revisit it. And when there's uncertainty like that, I think with the general public who's viewing Albuquerque from a distance, even if it's of 50 miles in Santa Fe, it makes you wonder, and you want some more certainty than we've had from the Air Force.
Absolutely. And Rachel Sams, good to see you. Our Department of Health and other departments that are involved with this have been pretty stout. Big fine just a couple of weeks ago, and the biggest I can remember here in a long, long time. So it's not as if people aren't trying to push this forward. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of the frustration just comes from the fact that it seems incredible that we know so little given how long it's been going on. That seems to me to be where a lot of people's angst and maybe mistrust is coming from.
Absolutely. In sense for business, what does this do for business moving forward? Again, the imagery we just talked about with Patrick. Does that hurt for economic development in that sense as well, this kind of a situation?
I think it's something of a concern. Certainly there are a lot of concerns out there right now for business and for economic development. This is one more thing where we're really still looking for answers.
Exactly. Russell, where do we go in 2015 on this one? What happens? What will satisfy the public? What could the Air Force do? Our various state departments here in New Mexico, what needs to happen in order for movement to happen here?
Well, they're going to need to continue these forums. Whenever they have these forums, they're going to have new information. Because if you just have forums to talk and say we're doing everything, that's not going to solve it. Every forum you have to have new information. You're going to have to answer questions and just be as transparent as possible.
Exactly right. Gwyneth, it's no secret that, you know, it's a hot part of town, Ridgecrest. you know, if it happens that someone starts losing some value on their homes, I got to think that's the one thing that's going to spur the public to really start moving and getting very loud about
Well,
this.
I think the neighborhood is already very exercised. You know, one of our producers here lives in the neighborhood and said that the traffic on the listserv is at a fever pitch already with people talking about it, worrying about it. I think the problem is going to be that we just might not be able to get the information that we all want. We might not be able to quantify it further or track it the way we want to, and that kind of uncertainty is distressing for everyone.
Exactly right. We did a big piece here at the NewsHour, Kathleen McCleary here in town, and it does have national exposure now. It's not as if we're musing about something that might be found out about. It's already out there, for gosh sakes. Let's see what happens to this one here in 2015. Number 9, excuse me, on our list of top stories of the year is immigration. This is a national issue, certainly, but there are specific concerns here in New Mexico, particularly at the border. And Russell, we've often heard in the past that discussions about immigration are different in New Mexico because of our unique history and demographics. Is that argument still hold for you after the year we just had with immigration here?
Not with what happened with Artesia. Artesia, I mean, we were thrown into the national debate about immigration. We were thrown in it very quickly about unaccompanied minor children.
Right.
And they were placed in an obscure area where we couldn't get information. We would call the administration, we would call local immigration officials, and we just could not find who's there, how long, have they been deported. And it was so difficult to get information that we just couldn't tell a story. Lawyers had to organize to get people there because they didn't have access to them. And lo and behold, once they finally organized and got these folks access to legal assistance, the rate of deportation dropped.
Right.
So what happened about those people that were deported? Was it unfair? I mean, what happened? So I think this was par for the course about transparency with this information. We just could not get information. And it was a very tragic story overall because there were a lot of people without names that we just don't know what happened to.
That's right. Interesting, Patrick, listening to Russell talk about this is a national issue, certainly, but the void he's talking about as well, other things, voids don't last long, of course. So other things came in to fill that void. There were lots of rumors. There were rumors about health issues with children down there. There was all kinds of crazy things. Does it get to the point of why the press is so necessary in these kind of moments, that we have to have this kind of transparency?
Absolutely, and I think it really put a human face on things to have women and children there. But then when reporters were taken even on an authorized tour down there, my colleague Mylan Simonich said, wow, we saw a lot of facility, we saw not a lot of people. Right. So what we don't have is the personal inside stories of these human beings, families that have been through just unimaginable experiences to get here and possibly being duped to get here, and then in a lot of ways being penned up and in some ways abandoned by this country, certainly not welcomed. And there's just a lot that we don't know about these. And I think as time goes on, hopefully there will be some voices that come out of the Artesia experience that tell us this is what happened to me as a human being.
Well said. I like that. And Gwyneth, you know, it certainly brought out a lot of stuff in our local communities, meaning a lot of folks rose to the occasion to really help these folks. There were lots of legal aid folks that volunteered and other type things, but then a lot of other folks in the local community down there were not so crazy about those folks even being in their backyard. We saw all of it, didn't we, this year with immigration?
Yeah, I wrote a story about this for Government Executive Magazine and talked to the mayor down in Artesia, who I think definitely wished this had just never happened to him. But you know, he was kind of stuck in the middle. Local officials really got stuck between, they appreciate the law enforcement training center down there, they appreciate the economic activity that it generates, and they're supportive of its mission. But they really felt the pressure of this anxiety. Who are these people? Who is coming? Are they going to be dangerous? Is this going to be a threat? Are they going to release them into our town? And not knowing was the hard part. Once they figured out, oh, it's women and children, they're just going to be here, they're going to stay in the facility, their anxiety dropped, and the Chamber of Commerce, especially down there, was really proactive in gathering donations of clothes and things like that for them. So it was a process for the community, but I think it was really stressful for them.
Absolutely. You know, Rachel, it seems to me this opened up the idea of immigration and driver's licenses here in New Mexico again, and we're going to have this certainly come up in our legislature with the new configuration in the House, certainly. Talk to that a little bit. Does this give any kind of wind in the sails for folks, or is it just so unique and special down there, it just really didn't matter on that idea?
I think this year's discussion was pretty unique in a way. It almost kind of ratcheted up the discussion because there was so much in it specific to children. And it's a difficult discussion anytime you talk about immigration anyway. When you're starting to talk about minors and people who aren't fully prepared to speak for themselves legally, then that's kind of a unique discussion in and of itself.
Exactly right. Russell, of course, we're winding this facility down in Artesia now. And it looks like perhaps a point was made, who knows the reasons why, but it was a difficulty because it was so far removed from all other civilization. No, offense against Artesia, but you know what I mean? It's not near a major media center to be able to report on this.
Yeah, no, that was difficult. And I should say that I'm a cousin of two twins who are from El Salvador who went through the same thing in the 1980s. So writing about the story was very difficult. And as it shuts down, what I see now is the debate about immigration has not left New Mexico. In fact, it is ratcheted up, and so now we're looking at different aspects. But it did bring a point about legal aid, and that discussion about legal aid has now transcended with now the debate about administrative relief. So now they're organized, and so they're going to go around the state and talk to folks who may benefit from these new federal changes that are coming after the Obama announcement.
Right. Exactly right. Patrick, finish up for us on this one. Again, casting ahead with the legislature, its new configuration on the House side. Anything you see here as a bounce from what happened this past year in 2014 with the 2015 discussion?
I think, yeah, we'll probably see the repeal of the driver's license law for immigrants advance a little farther than it did, but it would be a long shot to pass, I think, just because the Senate will be a backstop still controlled by the Democrats.
Right. There you go. We're back in a minute as we continue to count down the top stories of 2014. Stay with us.